Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today we are taking a look at the Montreal Canadiens as their newest captain, the 31st captain in the historic history of the Montreal Canadiens. Nick Suzuki is the next captain in Montreal. Kind of an interesting move. A lot of people are a fan of it. A lot of people think it's, according to Eric Engels, a bold move. So we're going to go over that today. So the Montreal Canadiens last week at their annual golf outing announced the next captain of the team. And there was a lot of criticism. A lot of people said that this is maybe too early for the young 23-year-old. Some people said it was a perfect move. Or some people were upset because of the kind of the cultural side of things, that necessarily Nick Suzuki doesn't speak French. And that kind of ruins a tradition in Montreal Canadiens history. It's not even like a recent era thing. This has been since the beginning in Montreal. Their captains, their general managers, their head coaches, they all speak French, except for Nick Suzuki. Now, he does know a little bit of French, but there's been a lot of controversy over that. Now, you look at the last 5 captains in Montreal Canadiens history: Vincent Damphousse from 1996 to 1999, Saku Koivu from 1999 to 2009, Brian Giunta from 2010 up until 2014, Max Pacioretty from 2015 to 2018, and then Shea Weber, the most recent captain behind Nick Suzuki, from 2016 to 2021. So when you look at the way things have gone recently in Montreal, all of those guys have a little bit of a French tone in their, the way they talk. So that definitely plays a factor, and a lot of people are questioning if this is too soon. Now, the argument you can make, and I do agree with this to an extent, they could have made Brendan Gallagher the captain, right? Make Brendan Gallagher the captain of the Habs for another 3 or 4 years, till his contract expires, right? And allow Nick Suzuki to develop as an alternate captain and make him work for it a little bit, right? And, that makes sense. But I think at the end of the day, I think that this Habs management wants to put their stamp on this team, and this is their way of kind of doing that. So instead of waiting another 3, 4, 5 years for Gallagher, they just decided, you know what, this guy is a huge piece of the team. And Brendan Gallagher actually said in that golf outing, he said, he thinks of, the team thinks of Nick Suzuki as the heartbeat of the team, which that's kind of funny coming from Gallagher, because you could argue at the past, really since Gallagher's gotten there, he's probably that guy, or one of those guys that is the heartbeat of the team. So kind of interesting to hear that point. A lot of people say it would have been a unanimous vote if it was by the locker room's choice. It probably would have been Nick Suzuki. So again, this is a guy that plays better under the pressure. You look at his numbers. He in 2019-2020, his rookie season, he put up 41 points in 71 games. He put up 41 points in only 56 games in the 2020-21 season. So in 15 less games, he put up the same amount of points, which is quite impressive when you think about it. And then this most recent season, the 2021-22 season, in a full 82-game schedule, we saw Nick Suzuki put up 21 goals, 40 assists for 61 points in an 82-game schedule. So Nick Suzuki really has been a huge piece of this team. He actually, funny enough, has more goals in the postseason than he does in the regular season, just because of things are different for him. When the lights are a little bit brighter in the playoffs, and whenever there's a big moment, Nick Suzuki shines. And I think that's part of why the Habs management and the brass said, you know what, this kid plays better under pressure, under the bright lights. And listen, there's kind of a shout out to, I want to say it was Jeff Merrick that said this. He said, the 2 most difficult jobs in Canada, 1 is the Prime Minister. That's the most difficult job. 2 is being the goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens. And I can make an argument for third. What's the third most difficult job in Canada? Maybe oil drilling. Maybe. But I think I'm going to go with the Montreal Canadiens captain. It's kind of one of those things where you look at where Nick Suzuki is coming in here. He's already got a couple years under his belt. He has some experience. He's shown that he can perform in the big moments. And the fact that the locker room sees him as kind of the heartbeat of the team, that right there kind of tells you all you need to know about this kid. He's a very poised, humble Canadian kid. And I think that goes a long way for kind of his persona. His persona perfectly fits Montreal, perfectly fits what they're trying to build there. And this is, I can't think of a better way to put this, but this is Kent Hughes. This is Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton's kind of, child, right? Their golden child. And this is kind of their stamp on this new era with a brand new captain that, for all intents purposes, it kind of has the same mindset as Patrice Bergeron. And I think a lot of people, when you compare, anybody being compared to Patrice Bergeron is obviously a huge statement. But I think the Habs did a really good job here picking Nick Suzuki. I'm a fan of it. I really like what he's provided in his time there. I know there is that francophone situation, but apparently he's been really working on that and will continue to work on that. And I think Habs fans, for the most part, will trust that and kind of go along with that. At least he's going to be putting in the effort to get better at speaking French, which obviously, shout out to that because I think that goes a long way. I think most Habs fans will understand that, especially if he can produce on the ice. I think that's the most important thing, and I think he will be able to do that. You look at the last couple of years for the Montreal Canadiens, the 2016-17 season was their best regular season in the past 5 years. They ended that season with 47 wins. They lost in the first round. The following 2 years, in 2018 and 2019, they missed the playoffs, and then they made it to the first round in the qualifier of 2020. They lost in the first round. They did beat Pittsburgh, though, in a qualifier round before that. So they technically lost in the first round, but they did make the playoffs. And then they lost in the Stanley Cup Finals, obviously, in 2021. And then in 2022, which was this past season, they finished with 22 wins, which is less than half the wins they had back in that 2017 season. And obviously they missed the playoffs, ended up getting the first overall pick. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you agree with the Montreal Canadiens making Nick Suzuki the captain? Or do you wish there was a little bit more development there? A little bit more, maybe a couple more scars on him and a little bit more time and veteran presence, getting more of that experience and maybe making Gallagher the captain first? Or do you think this was the right move if they were going to do it anyway in 3, 4, 5 years? He's already shown the mental maturity that he can handle it now. I think this is a great move for the Habs. And again, definitely the Habs putting their stamp on this team. And that has been all that Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton have done so far. So you can't not necessarily say this is surprising. This is just kind of continuing what the Habs have been doing over this, really, the last year. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you again next time. Go Habs.